A very good afternoon and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And this afternoon we are looking at Emerson Mnangagwa online poll versus Ian Douglas Smith, the former Prime Minister of Rhodesia. You know, this is something which is very, very important because it reflects where we are going as a nation. We've seen this debate online for a very, very long time. It's days now, and we need to look at it. So ZIMLIVE conducted a poll, and it reads, it's a complex and emotive subject for all Zimbabweans. Now we have to put the question to a general vote. Who would you rather was president? This is the question which has been asked right here. And according to this poll, which was done by ZIMLIVE, Ian Smith won by 84.1%, whilst Mnangagwa got 15.9%. So this is something which is very important because 12,647 people have casted their votes, and we have 2 days left. But it seems as if ZANU-PF people are being defeated left, right, and center. They have failed on this one, and they can't even defend their own leader. ZANU-PF people, Warakashi, are present online, but currently we are sitting at 12,647 votes. And if you look at 15% of that vote, you can actually see that the majority of the people who voted for Ian Smith. So it doesn't look well, because each and every discussion we are having online, this is a true reflection of what the people really think about ZANU-PF, what the people really feel about ZANU-PF and about Emerson Mnangagwa. Emerson must respect the human rights. That song is very, very important because it was more like the constitution of the guerrillas when they were in the struggle. Each and every time they were supposed to compose themselves using that song, behave along the lines of that song, because it was so clear. Kune nzira dzamasoja dzekuzvibata nadzo, tererai mitemo yose ani muri kuzviona yokugara kwakadi yokugara zvakanaka. And they were actually explaining how soldiers must behave themselves, how soldiers were supposed to actually behave in the battlefield. And that was supposed to be translated into Zimbabwe post-independence. But post-independence, we have seen a total alienation of the Nziradzama Soja song, which led the guerrillas in the struggle as their sole constitution. We started to see the government deviating from Nziradzama Soja. We started to see Robert Mugabe and his team silencing the people of Matebele simply because he wanted to create a one-party state, simply because he wanted to be the center of power. Everything was supposed to happen through Robert Mugabe. He wanted to be life president. And up to 1990, you could actually see that things were becoming more different, more tense. Up to 1996, things are now out of hand. Up to 2000, more out of hand, coupled with the chaotic land reform program. And up to this day, you have seen how things are going. So we are not in support of Ian Smith. If I could have seen Ian Smith myself, they're going to Mbama. Why? I have relatives who died because of Ian Smith's bombing. This is clear, and it's painful. It's Chimoyo. Several of my relatives perished there. Up to this day, they have never been recovered, and their families have never gotten closure because they were not told officially by the government that their families perished there. But those who survived could tell the story of what happened at Chimoyo. We also have some comrades who even perished during the war in the villages right here in Zimbabwe. Kune hama dzedu dzakabombwa, sekuru wangu akabuda ini pakanga pabombwa base. You know, along Ngundu, near Ngundu right there. Base rakabombwa, it's there, it's known. And we hate Ian Smith with passion. But we cannot tolerate those who are perpetrating crimes far worse than Ian Smith. I always ask, what made the Zimbabwean government not try Ian Smith for the crimes he committed? If he was going to be pardoned, they could have pardoned him after trying him. Ian Smith's comrades who were leading the Central Intelligence Organization were then promoted by Robert Mugabe. Instead of Robert Mugabe arresting them, try them for war crimes, he promoted them, continued to work with them. You see, he integrated them into the new system. Why? It's because he admired the model which Ian Smith was using. He admired Ian Smith so much. And if somebody comes and say, Robert Mugabe and Emerson were the stooges of Ian Smith, you can't deny it. You can't, because Robert was the darling of the British people. He was the darling of the Queen Elizabeth. What changed? What went wrong? So you can actually see that we are so emotional about this subject because we cannot account for Itai Dzamara. The same way we can't account for our comrades who died at Chimoyo, at Nyadzonya, at Tembwe, in Chinoi, everywhere across the country and outside our borders. The same way we can't account for our comrades is the same way we can't account for Itai Dzamara. So if you look at it in such a way, you can actually see that this regime has become far worse, more than worse. It's become worse. It's a rogue regime. So when you hear the comrades talking about this issue, saying that this regime has become worse than Ian Smith, and you see the polls, people voting Ian Smith from the grave getting 84%, you can actually see that this situation does not need emotions. It needs Emerson Mnangagwa to actually sit down, vote, understand. So let us take a look onto this one. Even a potato can defeat Emerson Mnangagwa. Look at it. A potato is defeating Emerson Mnangagwa. Why? It's because he has failed. People do not envy Smith. People do not want Smith. People want an accountable government which is far much better, which is premised and hinged on the liberation promises. The liberation struggle promises are there. They've never been followed, because if they had followed the liberation struggle promises, Zimbabwe could be more than, even better than Switzerland. But we are where we are because these comrades have decided to pursue a rogue formula or model of governance. That is the reason why you see Vanawikino Chivayo, they walk scot-free, vachidishira vanhu mari as if ndo varidzwe nyika, while the people are suffering. People are suffering in Zimbabwe, and just a few are making it, while the majority are wallowing in poverty. Go to the rural areas. For example, I can give you an example. The areas like Mwenezi, mombe dzakapera kufa. Izvezvi vana vanoenda kuchikoro nei? Because mombe dzafa, vabereka vasina mombe dzekutengesa kuti vabhadhare school fees yevana, vichira kuti vana ivava vakutogara. Izvezvi tine vana varipo right now as we speak, who cannot go for Form 1 simply because mombe dzakapera kufa dzese. The government is not even helping. No one cares about the future of those children. The schools, you need to buy uniforms, you need to buy books, you need to pay fees. All these things are required, and the government is silent, is quiet about that, and is not taking action to make sure that whenever vadzokera kuchikoro, whenever vaenda kuchikoro, vatanga Form 1. Who does that? Where is the councillor? Where is the MP? All of them are not available. Where is the president himself? All of them are not available, and they don't care. So when we say this government was supposed to do better, we are saying the government was supposed to provide for the people and not make its own people slaves. This government is providing for just a few. Go to the civil servants. Teacher arikukundwa kuita marina korokoza. Teacher anokundwa kuita marina korokoza. Teacher ndiye madoctor esa akabuda nemoko a teacher. Every profession you can think of, you can talk of, yakabuda nemuroko rwa teacher. But the same teacher cannot afford to buy himself a car, the smallest car possible, a teacher can't buy. So even vachitaura zvokuti anzi takavapa mari rebates whatsoever, teachers can't afford, because ari kumbotambira mari. How many months does he need to serve for him to be able to buy such a car? That is something which is very, very important. So I hope and believe that Emmerson will not take this matter emotionally, or not address this matter emotionally, because Varakashiwake, they are even failing to vote for him, which means they agree to a certain extent. So this is what is happening. It's not me, the people of Zimbabwe, 12,670 people who were asked the right here, voted for Ian Smith. Emmerson got 15%. It's embarrassing, which means Emmerson and this team must reflect and do the right thing. Michael, thank you very much for coming. He says ED must just resign. Yes, that is true. If ED cares about the people, he must simply resign, leave power, and leave for good. In fact, he must actually make sure that anongoenda auto-liquidate parliament yacho nezvinhu zvese, so that we start afresh to have fresh elections, have a new government, have change in the nation of Zimbabwe.